Hey, Matt.
Hey, Mike.
It's podcast time.
Word.
Ding, ding, ding. I don't know why I'm pointing at my digital watch that
Yes.
doesn't make a sound.
And also on an audio podcast where nobody can see that. But you know what? This is why we work well together.
Welcome to Hacking the Grepson, a software and development-centric podcast where I, Mike, talk to
Me, Matt.
about things. It's a bit. I'm going to make it happen until I forget.
I had to say 2 words that time.
2 for the price of 1. It's all free. Today, Matt brought this topic of team building. Building good teams, whether you're building software, whether you're playing D&D, whether you're playing a game, whether you're doing improv, whether you're doing anything where multiple people have to work together, having a good team is very important. And Matt has some thoughts about how to do that, don't you, Matt?
Matt has too many thoughts about how to do that.
I'm here to help Matt with his thoughts. Yeah. But Matt, why should we care about building a good team?
I think teams are in all aspects of life. I have talked frequently with my wife and I. We are a team, right? But I even include my daughter in that. She's 16 now. We as a team take care of this house, right? We each have different roles and responsibilities and strengths and weaknesses, and we can make everything run smoothly. Roommates, same deal. When you go to work, you're probably not working by yourself if someone's paying you, because you're probably working with at least one person, the person who's paying you, right?
Right.
Unless you're doing solo dev, hiding in a cave in the mountains somewhere.
Then go listen to something
else. No one
else.
talks to you, off the internet, doing nothing, right? In which case, you're not hearing this in the first place. Like you're working on you're working in a group, and the best groups, in my opinion, are teams. They're working together.
Group versus team.
Yeah.
That's a good distinction.
I didn't even think about it until just now.
Yeah.
Everything's a group. Every gathering of people is some sort of group, and the best groups for me are teams, right?
Okay.
Where you're working together
Towards a common
usually
goal.
towards a common goal, but
Yeah.
like even just working together.
Yeah.
Like that's the critical piece. And there's so many different aspects of that make it good and can taint it or not. And I see this. The reason I started thinking about it was really D&D based, but also I've led software development teams multiple times. I directed an entire improv troupe for 6 years or something. That was a ton of teams, like dynamics and like making people work together well and so on. It's something that is kind of a common theme in my life that I started thinking like, oh, I bet there's something to this.
Yeah.
And then eventually I'll write a blog post about it once I get these ideas more concrete. But for now, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So you have thoughts on like what makes a good team and what makes a not so good team?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, first of all, like why even work in a team? Why not everybody just do their own thing and we'll get together later?
And that's a good question. And I've worked on teams that's what we did. In which case they weren't really teams.
They were groups.
They were groups that were grouped together on the org chart, right? It's like, okay, you're responsible for this, you're responsible for that.
Yeah.
We report to the same person. We're not working on things at all. Those frankly, they don't feel good to work on. I find them frustrating because you are working with these people still, but you don't have anything to do with them. And like, what's the point? At that point, let me go home and I'll work there.
Yeah.
Which I do. I work here.
And yet you're still on a team.
I am.
Even though you work remotely.
But like our team at work was kind of jumbled together from a few other teams during a reorg. And it's taken about a year to really start getting us to coalesce as a team because we were all working on different projects. And we would overlap a little and we would share what we were working on. But but until like the last couple of months, it didn't really click as a team.
Yeah.
Because I got overwhelmed with stuff and I was like, hey, I need help. And so a lot of people started helping me on my stuff. And now like I have a little bit more free time so I can think about things they're doing. And it becomes a dynamic. The reason to do a team as opposed to go work solo, I think, is that no one is great at everything. No one person knows everything.
Except us.
Yeah, I know everything.
Yeah.
I have since I was 15. But no one knows it all. and that's okay. And the best teams I've worked on is where we have synergistic like personalities or skill sets, usually both, that enable me. The sum is greater than the parts or something like that.
The whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
That's the thing. Yeah, that one. I should put that in the blog post somewhere.
It's the gestalt of the team.
That it's true. It just is, right? Like doing that together. And if I, at least for me, when I am worried about is the wrong phrase, when I'm thinking about someone else besides myself when I'm doing a project, I do a better job. Because I'm like, oh, Mike is going to have to pick up this code after me, or he's going to have to add something to it. He's not going to know this weird thing that I did or why I did it, and I put in a comment. Whereas if I'm working by myself, I don't do that, and then unless I'm being nice to future Matt.
Exactly. Always remember future Matt.
I try.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's going to be around.
Curses past Matt.
He really does.
Yeah.
He's very angry.
Yeah. So when you're at work, like you said, you've led teams in software development. Like, what about the teams that you led were good? Like, what were the individual strengths that work together?
Well, I mean, we can kind of think about that in general. Like,
okay,
we've both been on software development teams.
Sure.
What has worked for you? I'll tell you, like, the best team that I led. Actually, before I do that, the team that was before that was just a 2-person team.
Okay.
It was a buddy of mine from college, and he called me up because he had just started working this job, and it was way too much stuff. It was writing a video player. Way too much stuff for a single person to do. And he and I worked very well together in college. So he's like, Matt, come help me out. And I was sick of my job. So I was like, let's do this. And I came over. And our team was, he and I, sitting in a room together with our backs to each other, typing into the corner, and occasionally yelling over our shoulders, like, hey, this thing, hey, that thing, right? But he was much more of a person who was very bold and like just going forward. I'm a much more cautious developer. I like to kind of see all the angles before I make decisions. So we were a good team because we balanced each other there. I'd be like, before you do that, let's think. And it's when I got stuck, he's like, let's go. You know,
top down versus bottom up, perhaps.
Very much.
Yeah.
But also, he has a great memory for like details and like could remember. We were writing Visual C++, and I could never remember the names of the functions because it didn't make any damn sense, and IDEs weren't good back then. So I'd be like, hey, well, I'll just say his name. Hey, Tom, what's the function for this? And he'd say it. And like, but he wasn't good at some of the more like, it's not that he was bad. Neither of us was bad at these things, but I was much better at the like higher level architecture, thinking forward, object-oriented stuff than he was. And so like together, we made a really good product from, frankly, a really bad product. So like that was good. And then my next team kind of built out from that. But I want to hear about you. Like, tell me about teams you've worked on where it worked.
I have not had as much experience in team doing software development. I think I've done way more solo development, so I've kind of had to carry all of those different... I have the strengths and weaknesses inside of me.
Yep, there are 2 wolves inside of you.
Yes. I'm actually wearing a Power Animal shirt right now. I love it. I'm not. Actually, that's a lie. I'll just use my current team because I think that's probably the...
That's the one I was thinking of because you... Like, it was a big change for you.
It was, yeah. So my team right now, there's 3 devs. There's kind of 2 server people. There's 1 kind of QA usability documentation person, and then we have kind of like the product manager, program manager person who kind of oversees, the general direction of everything. And I definitely feel like the least experienced developer, but I still can contribute. And so I still look up to the other guys who are on my team to find out some of the more esoteric or detailed stuff about the code base. But, we all work together well in that we're all kind of, we all respect each other and we all, give respect to each other and assume that we're doing the best job, and that when we do like code reviews that we always have like the best intentions. No one is trying to there's no ego. No one is trying to like one up anybody else. And so it's really just for us, having multiple developers means we can do more things quicker,
more efficiently.
We just get more stuff done. And then having the server people who are just making sure that like the things that we're putting our code on work and are deployed properly.
Like the infrastructure.
The infrastructure. Like not having to worry about this is great because I've done that in the past and I don't like it as much, and I like that I can just code. And then having the I think we've talked about this before, but having the one QA documentation person is a godsend. Like I've
Really
never had
is.
that before. Having someone who basically just uses our product and is constantly updating the documentation and letting us know when they don't work together or if something's changed is great. And having that's just
Well, because
amazing.
in general, software engineers don't write good documentation.
Yeah.
Either because they know too much about what they're doing, so they can't think about.
They make a lot of assumptions about what
they're
people
like, everyone
know.
knows this. No, they
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Right. Or it's boring. Honestly, writing documents, I don't like doing it. It's not an interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
It is always the thing I put off to last, even though I know how important it is, and even though I will yell at people about not doing it. Not really yell, but it's one of the most frustrating things when you're working on something and the documentation sucks and you can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But having that person takes that burden off of you, and now you can focus on making the product even better.
Yeah.
Right. It's that interplay, that synergy, the mixture of I've got your back, right?
Yeah.
That's the big saying in improv. I've got your back.
Yeah.
Everyone says it.
It's the respect.
Yeah.
You have respect of other people.
Respect and trust are
yes.
so important in a team.
Yeah.
And in general, in life.
Yeah.
Anyone I'm working with, if they don't trust me, I immediately don't trust them. It's I'm like, well, why not? I know I'm not right.
Yeah.
And so building trust is huge. I think that's one of the most foundational things as a leader that you need to do.
Yeah.
Is to build trust, which kind of leads into the team that I led, right?
Yeah.
The team that I felt was the most successful that I ever led was that same video player I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, that guy moved into a different department, and I took that over, and we had a much bigger team by then.
Okay.
And it had grown beyond just the player, and there was client applications that went on iOS and Android and Windows, and there was a server component to it now, and it was a bigger product.
So you needed more people.
So we had more people.
Yeah.
And in general, there are plenty of full stack developers out there that are good, but in general, people are usually better at either front end UI stuff or back end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am good at UX stuff, but not actually writing the UI code. But I'm good at knowing when a UX is bad and kind of directing it. But I'm very good at the back end stuff. I get that. It's the way my brain works, right? So that team, I think we were 3 people when I took it over, but it grew to 8 at one point, 6 or 8, somewhere in there. And what my big focus there was just making it a sustainable team. People leave, people come on. We got a lot of stuff. What if someone goes on vacation? How do I make that a sustainable team that's actually putting out work, that's getting done properly, that works well together, right? Mm-hmm. And so I literally just went around and talked to all of my team, and I was like, what do you like working on? And some people didn't care.
Yeah.
They're like, point me at something and let me do it. They didn't want, and fine. You know what? I love those people because I am not that person. If you just tell me to go work on a thing, it's going to take me forever to get it done. But if I'm interested in it, it's done in a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, that's good to know. I'm like, oh, okay, you really like the UI stuff. Awesome. You're definitely a back-end person? Great. I make little mini leads of things. I give everyone, my catchphrase a lot is clearly defined roles and responsibilities. What do you do on this team, right? I'm kind of the back-end guy, right? That's your role.
Yeah.
What are you responsible for? Okay, if this thing breaks, whose fault? Who had the final decision? We call them informed captains at some places, team leads, subject matter experts, all that.
Fall people.
Right. So, finding what someone liked and then making them the subject matter expert, the little mini lead of that, worked really well in my experience. But I also made sure that every single person had someone else who knew that stuff on the team, and I tried to make it asymmetrical, right? Where if you backed me up, I backed someone else up,
right?
So that there wasn't if we were both out, this one thing cannot be picked up.
It's a good way to knowledge share. You want the knowledge to get around to everybody if possible.
Because then someone else, you were backing them up, and so they knew that, and someone I was backing up, they still knew their part and kind of mine. So we had enough.
Yeah.
Where it's no single point of failure.
I like that. Also, you mentioned you just went and talked to them, and that made me think of team building exercise 99.
Yeah.
But really, what it means is it reminded me of one of the things that our group does. I work remotely, but every other month I actually go to the office, which really means that we go out to a place where we can all meet in person.
Yeah.
And talking to them in person it like re-energizes that we're a team.
It does.
Like seeing people in person is
I'm
helpful.
super introverted, and I still get a ton out of those because it's like once a quarter that we get together. And I'm like, it means a lot. Like, it helps me. It helps build the trust, frankly.
It does, yeah.
Because you get to know these people as people and not videos on their screen.
Exactly. Well, but even when you can't do that, I think a large part of why I like working with my team and what makes us a good team is that we have Slack or whatever you want to use, Microsoft Teams.
No one wants Steve's.
Yeah, no one wants to Microsoft Teams build. But we're all in Slack, and we're often chatting every day, and we're not just talking about work. We're talking about just what we're interested in, and or we make jokes, or we talk about what'd you get on the world today, that kind of thing, and that kind of thing builds trust and respect because you find out, like you said, them as a human being.
Yeah. And some people aren't comfortable doing that, and that's
what do you do about that then?
So that's why I do the one-on-one conversations.
Okay.
For me personally, I know that I can be the most open when I'm one-on-one with someone. I'm not thinking about what everyone else is doing. I can just pay attention to what the one person's doing. I don't have to worry about someone else's feelings. Yeah. I can kind of just focus on that.
You change your messaging style.
Yeah, I do, because different people think different ways.
Yeah.
So I will so that's why I did the one-on-one talks. And I would do it fairly often. And I didn't have it scheduled. I would do it because we were all in an office. So I would just drop in.
You did the pop-in.
Yeah. But, like, we worked very closely together.
Yeah.
I also found that having the leader, in that case me, actively working on a piece of the software was an important piece of that. I think...
Like you were in the trenches, you mean?
I was in the trenches with them.
Yeah.
If something broke, I was often the person that fixed it.
Yeah.
Just because I'm good at troubleshooting. See a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing that I, in particular, have a good brain for. Some people aren't good at troubleshooting.
Do you think that is a really important part to building a good team, being in the trench with them?
I think it's hard to build a good team if you don't understand what they're going through.
Yeah.
I have definitely been on teams where the person wasn't there, but they were in there fighting about the features against the product manager. They were actively worrying about the future of the product. They weren't just
writing code necessarily.
They weren't people managers. They weren't just people managers. They were doing something. I do think that's important. When I led the improv team, I was an improviser at the same theater, and for a while there, I had to improvise with my team because we didn't have enough people to do a show together.
Yeah.
And so they knew that when I gave them a note or made a suggestion or was teaching them in general, that I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because they had been there with me doing it. Or more accurately, I'd been there with them. Yeah. I find that really valuable.
I agree, because I've had manager or supervisors in the past where I didn't think they were in the trenches, and it was harder to relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's different management styles and different things work for different people, right? My style is I am much more of a friend than I am a boss. It's the reason I haven't gone into management specifically. I don't like it. Because you have to be a little bit detached there because you might have to fire this person.
Right.
I do not like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me. I like to be the tech lead, or I like to be the second in command.
Yeah.
Not in command, but the kind of the worm tongue, right? Where I'm just like I'm talking to the boss and I like help them with ideas. I'm the person they bounce ideas off of. I love being that person.
Yeah.
Being number 2.
Yeah. Not number 1.
I am number 2.
So these all sound like great reasons for teams.
Yeah.
But if you would indulge me, since I've done so much more solo dev over the years, I haven't necessarily had the benefits of that. And so I've used the internet as a surrogate partner.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I think a lot of people can and do use LLMs and AIs as their rubber duck and as their team. Like, they bounce ideas off an algorithm rather than a person. Is that the worst thing ever, or is that just the next evolution?
I think it's a useful tool, right? I do think you have to think about it more in the rubber duck sense.
So they're not on your team. Like, don't get the two confused?
I think you can be a team with the LLM to perform your job, if that makes sense. Like, they are your
They're
team.
like a bionic arm that you're grafting on.
They're part of you. Like, you are a team together, and then you are interfacing with the other part of the team. It's like you're on 2 teams, but you're not working against each other.
Yeah.
Because they're helping you, you're helping them. Think of them like a personal assistant, or maybe even an intern, right?
But if they got good enough, could they not become your team?
Potentially. I think we'll see it in my lifetime.
Yeah, but that also means that all of your good benefits about the human beings on your team don't matter as much.
I think,
which bothers me. It worries me.
I think they will fulfill a role. I think AIs will fill a role that the other people don't fill, right? I like to think about, I often go back to the analogy of like the deck of the Starship Enterprise in Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a bunch of datas running around. They had one data, right? Similarly, they only had one Worf. They also only had one captain, and they had one, number one, they had one counselor, right? Geordi moved off to engineering, but whatever.
Yeah.
But they had one Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
Wesley.
That's enough, Will Wheaton.
Right. And and like, but they work like that is actually a really good example of a team to me. Is what that bridge crew was. Everyone had a role. More accurately, everyone had a role and a responsibility, and those usually are the same thing, but there's slight variation because at the end of the day, the captain's responsible for everything.
Yeah,
right.
He goes down with the ship.
Right. They're responsible for making sure that the different decisions work together. But their role is to kind of drive forward, set the vision, right? That's the CEO in a company, right? Data was very good at like rapid processing of things. Wesley was very good at everything because that's what his character was. The Deanna Troi, she was good at reading people, right? And that's not a thing you would think to have on a bridge of a starship, but it worked, right? She could sense if like someone was overworked. That I don't think that was an episode, but she could sense that kind of thing and help work it together, right?
Yeah.
But everyone's a little bit different, and everyone is bringing a different thing to the table because I know it's a dirty word, diversity. Diversity.
It is good in the ecosystem. Diversity is good.
Diversity of thought, diversity of viewpoints gives you more perspectives on how to approach problems, right? I try not to pigeonhole myself into object-oriented programming thinking, right? It's what I like. I think it's a good tool to solve most problems, but I try not to get completely wrapped up in this is the only way.
Yeah.
Right? Same with programming language. This is not the only programming language in the world. There's people that really like dynamic programming. You know what? That's great for certain problems. But also, I don't know everything. I don't have every experience. Maybe I haven't dealt with. Maybe I have dealt with problem in the, once a product has gone into production and is being used that you haven't because you just didn't work on there. Similarly, you have experiences that I don't, and that helps you find solutions together that you wouldn't have found on your own.
Yeah. And
going back to the LLM stuff, right? I bounce ideas off ChatGPT all the time because I think out loud. When I'm in this office, I have to get it out of my brain and either onto something I can see or hear. Seeing is actually better. That's why I have whiteboards. ChatGPT is great because it's interactive. It's a rubber duck where I'm writing things down and it responds to me.
Yeah.
And I can tell it how I want it to respond to me.
Yeah.
Like, I used it to help put my thoughts together about teams as I'm trying to build this blog. I'm like, I have this idea and I want to kind of break it down in this way, but I'm not sure exactly how to lend this part. What do you think about? And like, oh, that's good. You could also try. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Half the time I won't use that thing. Half the time I will.
Yeah. But now also, why do that and not use someone on your team, a human being? Just because you don't want to bother them, or
so yeah, that's a personal problem on my part.
Okay.
I don't like feeling like a burden.
Yeah.
Very common trait, and also everyone's always busy.
Yeah.
But
and LLMs have unlimited patience, and
so I will often start with the LLM to make sure I'm not missing some glaringly obvious thing.
Yeah.
Or to like get my thoughts in order. I use them to get my thoughts in order. Really, it's like I kind of like I say a couple things and I like. Okay, this is the piece I want to take out, right? Like I have like 20 pages on team stuff that I haven't even scratched the surface of for this. So I'm like, okay, let's talk about workplace teams.
I mean, we haven't even gotten to like D&D teams or improv teams, but I'm assuming all of this kind of information is
all of it goes together,
applicable.
Yeah. So yeah, the AI is good for that. Its role is to help me put my thoughts together, right?
Yeah.
Maybe its role in the future when it becomes more of an AGI, the general one, is going to be the troubleshooting part. They're going to be customer service. It's not working right. That's what Google does, right? Mm-hmm. You go on there. If you try to talk to someone, it's really hard to do. But they'll give you an AI bot that you talk to that will mostly be able to feed you there. That's great. That frees up so much time.
Yeah.
A lot of my time at work is spent in kind of the tech support role almost of fielding like people's questions and and other stuff. I could be better used in a different way. I think that's where AI is going to become useful.
Yeah.
But going back to teams, you mentioned D&D.
Yeah.
I find D&D to be fascinating from a team's perspective because there's so many different aspects of it. Even just at its surface, you've got your players and you've got your characters, right? And that's two different teams. I'll start with the one that people don't think about enough, which is the actual human beings, the players. There is roles that need to be fulfilled if you're doing D&D. Someone is hosting this thing at someone's house, right? Or it's online, in which case someone is setting up the meeting, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff has to happen. If it's in person, let's just assume in person for most of this because it just makes more sense. Someone's bringing snacks. It's someone's house. You've got the person who's running the game, right? The game master, the DM, whatever it's called this week. You also have things like you need a note taker.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that is also the DM.
Right.
But it's really hard to do both of those things at the same time. You need someone who's scheduling. That's almost always the DM. And it's annoying to do, and they're already doing a lot of work. So you have a scheduler, right? It's nice to have someone who knows the rules really well. But it's also nice to have people who aren't rules lawyering everything and just want to play and go good. Because it keeps the momentum going.
Momentum, yeah.
Right? It's that balance.
Yeah.
That balance is key. And then you get into the actual game itself. You have characters. You've got your classic, like, fighter, mage, thief, healer, I think, is the big four, right? And each of those have a role in fighting.
Yeah.
But then if you think about, if you're doing role playing outside of that, like, okay, you're going into a shop. Who's going to have the best chance of being charming to and not off-putting to the person who's selling them things so you can get a good deal, right? You got captured by forces. Who's going to be able to, talk their way out of it, right? So the face roll is a thing that doesn't apply to any of those people necessarily. Usually in that scenario, it would either be probably the healer or it really could be any of them.
Yeah.
Like, you might have a paladin-like fighter who's like, oh, I'm great and everyone loves me and I'm very charming. Or you might have a fighter who's like, I'm going to kill people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's not the person you want to send in.
Yeah.
Right? And so you've got that dynamic. And then the big one, I kind of think, to wrap up kind of my general ideas about themes, I'll bring it back to improv.
Okay.
Teams, I'll bring it back to improv. There's a concept, Billy Merritt, who I have taken a workshop from on this subject. He's a relatively big name in improv. He has this concept of robot, pirate, and ninja as like the three archetypes of improv players, right? There's a lot of triangles and things.
Yeah. Kind of rock, paper, scissors-ish.
Yeah. And it's not that they defeat each other, it's how they play, right? Your robot is me. I approach a scene very analytically. I'm very logical. I have built, almost as soon as I say something, my brain has built a backstory for why I just said that without me thinking about it. Like, I'm not doing anything to make that happen, but I know it's necessary is necessary in that world for it to have happened. So I have some vague idea, and it just gets more defined over time.
Okay.
Right? They're the ones who are kind of making sure the structure's happening. Then you've got your pirates. They're the ones who are brash, who are going out there. They're usually the person who's initiating the scene. They're big and they're loud, and they are bringing a lot of energy to the scene because robots tend to be kind of down here, but the pirates tend to be like more and big, right? And then you got your ninjas who are kind of staying back there, who are kind of watching the scene and seeing what it needs, right? Oh, those two are kind of on the verge of a fight. We're kind of on the verge of this breakthrough. I'm going to come in as the waiter, and I'm just going to say something offhand, or that would seem offhand for the waiter, that triggers a response from them, right? They come in, and they're like, this scene needs to end because it's gone on too long, and they'll come in and just start a new one.
So they're kind of mediators or arbitrators.
I like the term ninja specifically because it's like, it's sneaky. When they're doing their job, you don't notice them.
Oh,
right?
I see. Okay.
And and I like that because that's actually most of my jobs in life. I often think if I'm doing my job right, people don't think about me.
Yeah.
Right. It's when they're thinking about me, that means I'm doing something wrong. So, but I think that same thing can apply in every team, right? That same kind of dynamic of you've got your D&D, you've got your players who are just going to go in there and they're going to make a big mess, right? They're going to go in, they're going to, I want to try this. They're charge either the characters or the players are inclined to just charge in, right? You've got your people who are more reserved or your rules lawyers, right? Who are on the more robot side and be like, well, actually, you can't rush in here because it's not your turn in the initiative. That helps bring some order to the chaos, because again, it's a balance.
Yeah.
And then you've got your ninjas who are in there and like they don't do anything like big and flashy, but then in the middle of a conversation they'll just like throw a suggestion at someone and turn it, or they'll or in the middle of a battle they'll just do something completely unexpected that just changes the way that everyone thought, including the DM, thought it would go. And as players, you also have the same thing, right? I want my players to have different energy levels because it's fun.
Yeah.
It keeps it more dynamic.
You want them to all be fighter barbarian types.
Right. But I mean the actual like humans that are playing them.
Right.
I want that same thing. You need someone who's going to make the decision and not have someone who's going to sit there and analyze, and not just have the people who are going to sit there and analyze every single way that it could be done and try to optimize the best. You need people who are like, let's go. Right?
Yeah.
You need the people who are paying attention to what's going on, and like maybe they go off and get you a drink because your water's low. Right? Like people who are just observing and helping things.
Yeah.
And then you can bring that back into the workplace. I've got people
This is a masterful journey you're taking me on, just want to say.
Thanks. It's been in my brain forever. But you've got, on a team at work, you've got, let's say, your pirates. Actually,
They're the ones wearing eye patches.
Yeah, R. They're the ones who were programming in R. But no, let's start with robots because that's the much more obvious one in software development time, right? That's your typical software developer.
Yeah.
You're going in, you're coding, you know how the programming language works, you're analytical about solving problems. You can almost do it by rote, a lot of the stuff.
But you're not making big breaking changes and stuff.
Right. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Then you've got your pirates who are there and are taking the big risks, or they're the ones who like can just knock out a prototype in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas,
the disruptors.
Yeah. Whereas someone like me who's going to be like, okay, but we could do it this way. Oh, is that the best technology? Right. Not a great place for me to get stuck in, and easy for me to get stuck in because the way I think. You need both those people, that dynamic. In my 2-person team, Tom was the pirate and I was the robot. And we both were a little bit ninja.
Everybody's a little bit ninja.
Try to be.
Yeah.
And the ninjas on a team, like a software development team, are usually the ones who are doing something like refactoring and just like cleaning stuff up behind the scenes. Your documentation tech person that you tech writer person that you mentioned, that person is doing ninja work. Right, they're in the background.
Can't wait to tell them he's a
ninja. They're kind of cleaning things up, and you know, you can expand. The analogy is not perfect in even in improv where it's written about. It's not a perfect analogy.
Yeah,
but thinking about your role in that way, not just your role on doing stuff, but your role for the team.
Yeah,
right? Your role on the team and your role for the team can be different. I'm very excited because I just thought of it. Your role on the team and your role for the team can be different, and
prepositions are amazing.
And you can make a really good team if you're balancing out all of the people that are on the team, and if everyone's thinking about each other.
Yeah.
Just in general, the team's going to go better.
Well, I'm also thinking, is it best for you to lean in to your roboticness or your pirateness, or should you be trying to branch out and if you're robot all the time, maybe be more pirate or be more ninja?
Yeah, and that's actually in the Theory Robot Pirate Ninja like book that Billy Merritt wrote. That's actually like the kind of the conclusion of it is this is your natural tendency is to be one of those 3 things, and the best one can do all 3, right? Mm-hmm. I am a robot who wants to be a ninja. At all, like that's in
classic story.
In life in general, because I'm not the pirate. It's not my nature to be that person. I don't really like it. It feels unnatural when I do it, and it does require a little bit of like effort and force to get myself. And that's in any of the things that we talked about on any team. I like to be the second in charge, like the person behind the person who's doing the big stuff, and being like,
who's the pirate? So you're behind the pirate.
Yeah, I like to be behind the pirate, being the robot.
Yeah,
and just be like, what if we did this instead, right? But I want to be a ninja because I love the stuff I really like doing is going in and fixing the code base so it's just easier to use, right? Just making little subtle small changes that just make it easier for everybody.
Magical code dust.
But I need to be more pirate because I absolutely get stuck on trying to make things perfect.
Yeah.
And the pirate, I being the person who can just jump in and make a thing happen is such a gift.
Well, matey, you've said a lot of good things. I've really enjoyed the journey you've taken me on in this podcast about team building.
Well, we are a team, so.
We are a team, and I am gonna have to be the pirate, I guess. So I'm pirating this ship and saying that I think we've said a lot of good things about team building, and I'm not sure there's much more else we can say on this particular episode. What do you think?
Yeah, the only thing I would say on top of it is just make sure that the people that are on a team can get along. You don't want, like, the one jerk, because that'll destroy a team.
Yeah. Now, so that's like a pirate that goes too far?
It could be anyone.
Oh, so any of those can...
Yeah, I've seen robots do that all the time.
You can analyze it to death,
Yeah.
you can brash it to death, or you can... How would a ninja destroy a team?
Subtly. No, that one falls...
ninja-like
that one
precision?
falls less under that, and that's more about how you approach other people. And it goes back to the trust and respect thing.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
A team...
Pirates must trust their ninjas.
There's a thing I tell people when I'm teaching improv, which I don't feel like people can be creative if they don't feel safe.
Yeah.
So I try to foster an environment that feels safe. When I'm leading a team, that's my goal.
Yeah.
Is to make everyone feel safe so that they can do their best work.
Yeah.
Which is very much Ted Lasso, actually.
Yeah. Well, and I would say that, and on my team that I've been working on for over a year now, I feel that way. I feel like I can throw out ideas and it's not going to be like dismissed out of hand or ridiculed or anything like that. It's like everybody has something to say and everything is worth respecting.
Yeah,
And
at least hear it. Maybe there's some merit to every idea.
Yeah.
Or at least like it's coming from somewhere that makes sense. And being able to respect people. And so having a personality that won't do that, I won't bring those people onto a team.
Yeah.
I'll kick them off right away if they are. Or I'll
Right
leave
off the
team.
plank.
Or I'll leave the team.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not, I have some pirates that are amazingly like big about like bringing people in, like, hey, I haven't heard from this person. That's awesome, right?
Yeah.
And that's actually a very ninja move to be like, I haven't heard from Mike in a while. I'd like to hear his thought on the subject.
Mm-hmm. Well, I enjoyed that thoroughly, and teams seem like a good thing. Do them.
Yeah, except for Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, don't use that.
This episode sponsored by not Microsoft Teams.
That wraps up this episode of Hacking the Grepson on tremendous teams and building them. And if you want to hear more chats between Matt and I, who are a team on this podcast, you can go to hackingthegrepson.com. We try to put out a new episode every other Wednesday, and so far we have. We were getting mighty dang close to episode 100. We may have something a little out of the ordinary in store for you, so be looking for that. But until we get to that, we now return you to your regularly scheduled lives already in progress.